Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Our Life Begins in Always. Before we get started, in case I haven't mentioned it, I want to give a shout out to all 106 of my subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you really want to show your appreciation, please go to my Patreon account and become a Patreon contributor. All the funds that go there go directly to charity. I don't see a penny of it. It just goes directly to charity. So you would be doing some good for the community of worthy charities that need the funds desperately. And, of course, at the end of every video, I would mention your name to show appreciation for becoming a Patreon contributor. And for those of you who want to receive copies of any uncensored videos that I record and put them on my flash drive, you need to become either a Patreon contributing member on my $9 tier or the $25 tier. Those two are set up for adult content. And once you become a member, you can either automatically receive a copy of any uncensored videos that I make, or if there's just specific videos that you want to receive, just leave it in the comments of what videos you want to receive, and don't forget to post your email address so that I can send them to you via email. Just a fair warning, being that there is a lot of uncensored videos that I have on my flash drive, I have to send them through via Google Cloud. So I'd have to do probably separate sendings through it. Probably like no more than 2 videos at a time, because it'll only send so many at a time through the Google Cloud. That's just the way it is. I have nothing to do with Google Cloud, what they do. So if they only allow me to send 2 at a time or whatever, then that's what I have to do. And you can find the link to my Patreon within the description area just below the video. So anyway, let's get started. And I believe we're on day 4 of our planning for our wedding. So, yeah. Alright, let me get the keyboard out here and get started. All right. As per usual, you, Cove, and Baxter met up on another day for another session. A few light-hearted words were engaged as Baxter watched the two of you amusingly. Cole's mood was still shining, and Baxter could tell. So, I take it the cake designing went well. Like a child who was excited to show their latest work of crayon art to their teacher, Cove shared the news with pure happiness. We're getting a really big one. I'm so pleased to hear that. What shall we be doing today? I think the dancing lessons. Let's do that. I feel like we should begin the dance sessions.
Exciting.
Oh, you want to get started on that? Exciting. Baxter adjusted down to the other door in the space, rolling his wrist point with his whole hand in extravagant gesture. There's a room here in the building you can use for dance lessons. I'll need to schedule it, of course. We need to be certain there wouldn't be any conflicts. If you could wait a minute, please. He pulled out his phone and swiped his finger a few times. His brow furrowed as he checked some sort of calendar. He tapped something with a flourish and looked up with a grin. Cove watched with open enthusiasm. I think that's how it's pronounced. Cove and I can attend lessons in the afternoon. Then, Chippy, we can have an evening. I believe I can pencil us in as early as tomorrow for the first lessons. Happily, there is enough vacancy in the event room for individual lessons. One-on-one lessons are ideal for this. Every person is at their own level and will need guidance with different aspects. I can get everything arranged today if that works for you. Cove nodded seriously. There was no hesitation coming from his corner despite his jitteriness. Let's do it. Yeah. We'll both put our dancing shoes on. Baxter placed the phone down to clasp his hands together. His enthusiasm was hard to miss.
Excellent.
I'll make it happen. And he did. Baxter made the necessary arrangements right afterwards. He asked for your input occasionally and finalized the times. Okay. He planned each detail out exactly. Any specific idea that Cove and you had was jotted down and added to the considerations. What kind of music are you thinking of? Would you rather go with something fast or something slow? It doesn't have to be ballroom staples. I'm more varied than that. A recent wedding I helped with went with classical music for their first half. Then early 2010s dance music for the last half. There is no wrong answer to this. Cove shrugged and left a space for you to answer. Okay. This is a tough one. Part of me wants to go alternative. And then there's also rock music. And then there's also throwbacks from when they were kids growing up. He. You know what? I'm just going to go with this second one. I would love songs to dance to. You had already started thinking about what songs best fit Cove and your relationship. Baxter nodded approvingly. Cove was even more supportive of your recommendation. Cool. I think I can guess some of the songs you're hoping for.
Absolutely.
Of course. And speaking of, let's chat about particular tracks. After continuing to discuss music selections for a while, your office time with Baxter finished and it was time to leave for the day. Goodbyes were said, knowing that the separation wouldn't last long. Tomorrow wasn't far. I'm believing it, being that this is a short video, shortened so far. I'm just going to continue with the next day. Anyway, so I still got some time here. The hours passed by quickly. It felt like a blink by the time the session rolled around. A bit after lunch, you drove Cove over to his first solo dance with Baxter. He was definitely nervous on the drive there. Despite his usual anxiousness, he insisted that he wanted to do the lesson on his own. He would show you his moves after he practiced. Good for you, Cove. It's good that you're getting some, ambition or encouragement on your own. You wished Cove luck and dropped him off, hoping he had a good time. You drove off as soon as he disappeared into the building. The plan was to run errands until it was time to pick him up. Pick him back up. You heard about a new store that had opened recently. It was close enough that you decided to check it out and see if they had anything worth getting. Unfortunately, the store didn't have any good selection compared to other options, but you stalled in the snack selection. You debated buying something in order to not leave empty-handed. Okay. I think let's go with fruit snacks. I mean, it's healthy for you, so why not? You bought a box of healthy fruit snacks. That's what I need to do. Instead of eating sweets a lot, just buy some fruit or something. I need to lose some weight. You grabbed a box that professed that it was high in vitamins. It looked tasty. Another store that you knew would have what you needed was minutes away. A short drive later, you were on your way to finishing your errands. It was nice to keep busy while waiting for Cove. When the time came, you drove the car up to the front of the building, stopping where Cove stood on the sidewalk. Cove greeted you with a smile and hopping into the car. He closed the door behind him and buckled his seatbelt with a click. Tell me everything. Cove shifted in his seat while rubbing the back of his neck. It was awkward, as you probably guessed, but not that bad. He brightened as he thought back. You listened to the veracity in his voice, even as you focused on driving through the parking lot. Baxter is kind of a good guy, not a bad teacher. You pulled out in front of the building and started making your way through the first intersection. What did you talk about with all your time together? To yourself, you admitted you were really curious. From what you could remember of that summer years ago, Cove and Baxter never spent time with just each other. Cove hummed and thought. We mostly just focused on the dance lesson. I think we also talked about some general wedding stuff. He asked me about the material of napkins I liked. Nothing personal. He didn't bring up anything from back before, when he wasn't our wedding planner. He paused for a moment, then continued. It had been on purpose, I guess. He didn't forget how I'd get uncomfortable when people acted too friendly too fast. You heard Cove tap the car door with his fingertips as you made a right turn. I wouldn't have minded talking a little more now. So we kind of made progress in more than just my consideration. Coordination. Excuse me. My coordination. A smile tugged at your lips. That was good to hear. You finally pulled into a parking lot space and parked the car. You couldn't linger in the car too long, given your own lesson. It was time to go. You looked at the grocery bag in the back seat with the snack you had brought. You offered some to Cove. Yeah, sure, why not? If you're hungry, feel free to snack. He probably needed some fuel after dancing for so long. You pointed over to the food, and Cove's eyes widened at the sight. That's perfect. I'll see you later. Bye. Love you. And love you too. Cove leaned over and gave you a quick kiss. You beamed back at him. You left Cove with the car and walked with a bounce in your step to meet up with your wedding planner turned dance instructor. The doors of the office building let you in after a firm yank. The air was cooler than what was outside. You followed Baxter's directions from yesterday to navigate the wide halls. Left past the fire extinguisher, then right at the first set of doors. You found a set of thick glass doors. You peered into a large vent room. It had been the place. You entered the space and noticed the towers of chairs on the sides of the room. It was easy to imagine the room filled with a crowd, but for now it had been cleared for your private class. You walked across the empty floor to the counter at the back where Baxter was. He raised his head and waved you over, setting aside some notes he had been reading. With the paper and a glint fountain pen left on the counter, he strode forward and met you in the middle of a large room.
Hello.
Welcome, Chippy. I'm glad you can make it. Hi, Baxter. Thanks again for scheduling this. It was my pleasure. I hope you've been well. I'm fantastic. Excellent. Baxter pulled a remote from his jacket pocket and clicked the button. A speaker system you hadn't noticed before crackled to life. Familiar music filled the room. He must have been busy to already have the songs that you had talked about yesterday ready. He tucked the remote back into his pocket. Then Baxter turned his attention on you. He offered you his hand.
Well,
I'll lead, at least at first. You can switch later if you prefer. His gesture felt really formal. He'd had enough performance practice to really feel as if he'd stepped out of a fairy tale ball. You immediately accepted his hand. It was time to dance. His fingers linked around yours, and he put his other arm across your back. You relaxed into the proper form for the dance, muscle memory taking over. I get something to drink here. Yeah. Baxter did not attempt to direct you, just remaining present as a reliable partner. You followed the music, timing your steps to the rhythm until you found yourself relaxing into it, practicing like this was helping to smooth out any creases your flow might have had before. Baxter suddenly smirked, a twitch of his lips getting your attention immediately.
You know.
Oh, I recall that it wasn't just dance lessons I was available for, was it? I also offered to give you rides whenever you needed them, didn't I? Hopefully I haven't let you down with that. It took a minute before you understood what he was talking about. You laughed, clear and bright. I think I'll be alright. We have our own cars now. You were impressed. He still remembered. But then again, you also remembered it. It had been practically memorable summer all those years ago. Being forward in flow, the discussion died down. The only exchange was the music and the sound of your shoes on the sleek floor in time with each other's. This is what I would like to know. I know he was busy with his life and going to school and stuff, but why did you never contact me again? He flattered in his steps, throwing the dance to a halt. He recovered quickly, his toes being back to previously formed motions. But his face still showed the strain of the upset. I know you had to go back to college, but I never understood why that meant. You couldn't text or anything. He took a deep breath. Tremors went through his shoulders from the effort of keeping his perfect pose. I apologize for vanishing so regularly. I can't pronounce that word. That's a tough one. And not even attempting to keep in touch. It was unkind. His lips twitched. It was closer to a glance than anything resembling a smile, even though you thought that's what he was attempting. I didn't think it mattered at the time to end it completely once I left Sunset Bird behind. At least that's what I told myself, or rather, what I hoped would be true. I wished hard that when you and everyone there didn't see anymore that you'd never think of me again. You'd go on with your lives happily and I wouldn't factor into it. He paused again. How did the music sound so much like cold silence? That doesn't make much sense to you, I imagine. Baxter offered a one-shoulder shrug for your supposed trouble. You wanted for him to explain. Or you waited for him to explain. I think that's what I was getting at. Yeah, you waited for him to explain. It's the initial story of my life. I want to be liked, but I can't be important. A friend for a season, a planner at a wedding, that's me. I'm not like him. Cove is a fiance. Like that. He says he tries cleanly. I think your friends and family liked to joke. I never thought so. He didn't even care for me, but was willing to dance together to do a better job for his wedding. In life, there are just someone's, and then there's the one. You found your one, and I'm generally thrilled you did, and that he found his. All I want is to assist with that happiness and not to get in the way of it. But neither of us are here for our old relationship dynamic. That's ancient history. We didn't need to get mirrored in the past when the future is so bright. Baxter's tone was poignant with finally, that was as much he would say. The pace of the dance sped up, going back to what it had been before. You nearly stepped on his foot at the sudden change. Since he clearly was not going to discuss it more, you didn't attempt to pry for more details. This had gotten into incredibly personal territory. I'm going to save it. Save it right there. Because I want to see what he would say if I said this. You deserve to be important. He dropped his gaze at your words and comfortably with your sincerity. You decided not to push anymore, and the tension slowly drained out of him. Baxter scolded his face. For all the world, it appeared like the conversation had never affected him. Okay, I'm gonna go back. So that didn't go too well. That didn't go anywhere. So load. Yeah, there we go. Accept your apology. It was years ago, back when you both had some growing to do. You could forgive him. Baxter scolded his face. For all the world, appeared like the conversation had never affected him. So, tell me, how did things go with Cove? Baxter chuckled as he led you to the left. You followed, watching his reaction more than your feet. Cove is a remarkably sweet man. You have nothing to worry about in more ways than just his dancing. But I won't say anything else. Instructor-client privilege. That response piqued your interest past simply curiosity. What had happened? The question was planned on your face, but Baxter suddenly focused on your heels. With him starting downward, you paid more attention to your timing.
Perfect.
Very nice. It was clear that you weren't going to get more out of him on the topic. Do you still dance often?
No.
I don't compete anymore, if that's what you mean. I haven't even kept up with it as a hobby lately. I do it for weddings if the couple would like me to assist. He gazed into the distance somewhere else for a heartbeat. Then he came back to you and smiled. I still love dance, clearly. He wiggled his eyebrows and put emphasis on his movements. You had to admit that he appeared happy enough during his session. There just isn't room for everything. I imagine that you've dealt with similar situations in your adult life. Bummer. You understood that he meant what fit in your life was different now from what it had been years ago, too.
Thanks.
Thanks for giving me an excuse to make time for a dance. No, thank you. You appreciate his expertise in this area. It was incredibly fortunate that he had the skill. You felt grateful for all the hours upon hours that he must have spent to get as good as he was. You focused on your movement. The acoustics of the room were surprisingly good for dancing. The music was good at volume, and despite the tile flowing, the tapping of your steps didn't echo discreetly off the walls. You tried to relax your shoulders and place more confidence in your movement. Left foot, right foot, left foot, turn. You observed the easy way Baxter seemed to guide across the floor. Following his lead was easy, but you concentrated on taking it further. You mimicked what he did, attempting to learn his gracefulness. He chimed in after he knows what you were doing and made small suggestions as needed. You both continued to dance as the songs cycled through the back. Thoughts played in your mind about the sureness of reconnecting with Baxter again after all these years without contact. However, it was excuse me. Sorry about that. However, that was secondary to your goal of dancing well in your upcoming wedding to the love of your life. It wouldn't be much longer until you would be doing this with your husband. I'll lead now. Can I lead now? I was about to suggest that, if you want to give it a try. You both rearranged your positions, and you were off across the floor. It was different from following Baxter, but it didn't take long for you to rediscover the right tempo. By the end of the session, night had fallen. You said goodbye to Baxter, and Cove came to pick you up in the car. You mirrored his actions from earlier in the day, climbing into the passenger seat and clicking in your seatbelt. He took the opportunity to copy you as well. So, tell me everything. The amused sparkle in his eyes let you know that using your words was completely and utterly intentional. It was really nice. You enjoyed connecting with Baxter and couldn't wait to dance with Cove in the near future. Cove grinned widely, happy for you. I'm glad this was a good idea. Also, did I thank you for buying me a snack earlier? It was good. You're welcome. I hope there's some left. You craned your neck around to inspect the back seat. You saw an additional snack, and Cove laughed. Don't worry, I didn't eat everything. I brought some drinks to go with them. I thought they'd be nice for a post-dance pickup. Cove better know how much you loved him, especially in the moments like this. Hey, seriously, what did you and Baxter talk about? You couldn't forget how Baxter phrased it all. You were too curious. When you were together, did something happen? I don't know. He sounded truly confused. He tried to think back, but it was apparent that nothing came to mind for him. Really, we didn't talk about anything important. Why? Did he say something to you? It seemed like he was implying something. The angle of Cove's eyebrows crept into concerned territory, so you elaborated. It wasn't bad. It actually seemed good. He thinks you're sweet. Cole's brows pinched together. They were now approaching deep thought. I guess, well, I'm not good at dancing. I never have been. You know that. It's hard and nerve-wracking. And I made it clear that why I was going through with something I'm not cut out to do, who it was for. He showed you a soft smile. His eyebrows evened out to normal. Maybe that's what he meant. You blushed. Your eyes strained to a window. The parking lot had emptied out from earlier this afternoon. It really was just you and Cove. Maybe it was. You felt lucky to have such a loving fiancé. With the day's arrangements taken care of, Cove pulled out of the empty lot and started to drive away. Next time you were scheduled to come by, it would be for the usual kind of office visit. No dancing required. You highly anticipated meeting back with Baxter. You had a good feeling about where this wedding was going. When you arrived for your session that day, you noticed Baxter's foot was tapping against the floor in a steady rhythm. It seemed the lessons from the day before were still in his mind. Yeah, I think I'm going to continue this next session. Why not? I have time. So, Excuse me. Yeah. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So nice to see you again. Now we can keep going over the steps here and there in between other than aspects of the planning. But our main focus should move beyond that. What shall we be doing today? How about we just pick a caterer? Alright. Cole's brightening enthusiasm was no surprise to you. Food always excited him. Baxter placed his hand on his arms with his chair and lightly tapped it with the tops of his fingers.
In that case...
That should be a nice time. I'll make sure you find the proper service to meet your needs. But don't worry, I won't get in the way of deciding of any of the details for the menu. Thanks. I appreciate that. After that, rest of the session circled around finding a specific catering company. And eventually you all agreed on one particular. They were able to make arrangements with you right away. One phone call and you had scheduled a time to go over details in person. That included a meeting with the chef too. And as added bonus, this would all happen for the next appointment with Baxter. It was a relief knowing that the menu would be taken care of by the next time you saw him again. Until then, there wasn't much else to do. It was time to leave. Thanks again for your help.
See you.
It's my pleasure, of course. I'll wait your next visit. We'll be back soon. Bye. Baxter nodded with a genuine smile as he watched you head out of the door. Once you were outside the office, you noticed a little pep in Cove's step. You were both in good spirits. Chipping away at the wedding planning had a special way of doing that. On the scheduled appointment with the caterer, you and Cove eagerly arranged the location specific over the phone. You were led inside a building past the seating room and directly into their commercial kitchen. It was sleek, silver, and clean. That it sparkled. That observation elevated some worries right away. Next to you, Cove's eyes wandered the space with intrigue. Along the back wall, you spotted a woman at a sink large enough to be an arm's length deep. She looked over her shoulder and grinned broadly. Hold on, I'll be right there. She finished washing up and swiftly crossed the room, drying her hands on her apron. Then she reached you and Cove and she gave a little bow. Hi, I'm the head chef and your caterer. I hear that you're getting married and are in need of sustenance for your friends and family. Yeah, we are. Well, I can assure you that you've come to the right place. We provide a full course meal with a menu tailored to your tastes and requirements. We'll also include all the plain silverware, glasses, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Why don't you introduce yourselves? And a bit stunned by the speediness of the chef's candor, Cove took the opposite approach and slowly, awkwardly pointed to himself. I'm Cove, the groom. And my name's Chippy. I'm the other groom. I love it. You can call me Rhonda. Okay, hi Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda. Thanks a bunch for meeting with us. Marvelous. Now I have a little pamphlet that I'm going to go grab. You can read it, leave it on the counter, use it as a coaster. It's okay. I'm gonna explain everything myself anyways. Think of it as an extra guide. Rhonda waved the idea formally with both hands as she also shrugged nonchalantly. Cove chuckled shyly, leaning towards you while she lightly jogged to the other side of the kitchen. She swooped up the information sheets and came right back. Rhonda confidently stretched her arm out all the way to offer you each a pamphlet. Both of you accepted one. Cove turned his around in his hands, inspecting it carefully. You guided one in your hands too. Oh, nice. It looks a nice picture booklet or whatever. Well, now that I've remembered that, we can get into nitty gritty. Let's shop talk. The menu. You can choose to have a single menu that's consistent across the board. Easy peasy. Or we can put up two fully separate types of menus based on different dietary needs. Guests could choose between them, and we'll prepare as much of both as needed. Yeah, that's right. Some of our guests, I know our sister Liz is a vegetarian, so there's going to have to be some vegetarian alternatives, obviously. And it practically goes without saying, but we'll be able to accommodate an individual plate changes if any comes up. For example, a situation where just one or two people need specific elements left out. We can work with that without needing to make another full selection for it. So what kind of menu did you two have in mind? vegetarian. And a second one, of course. Not everyone's vegetarian. Some of them, like Liz, some people like Liz might be vegetarian. We know Liz is, for sure. It's been stated that before in past situation, of course. Let's see. What else is there? I'd have to look these up. There's three of them. There's three of them now. I have to look up to see what they are. What they are. Give me a moment. I'm gonna look it up on Google real quick. I got my phone over here to the side so I can look it up on Google. Hey Google, what is politarian? Okay, so politarian means it could mean different things. It could be there's meat involved, of course. There's like chicken. It could be Spanish. It could be Italian. So there's a variety with that. It goes with that. So we could probably go with that. Let's go politarian then. Turn to Cove. You chuckled to see if he had options on the menu. How does that sound? I'm thinking that would have a good plan going. That we have a good plan going. Great. That's biggie already done. Then let's keep the ball rolling. All right. What's next on the agenda? At the medium, there was going to be a main entree on your service, so that's one course automatically. And if you're having a cake or another dessert, that'll technically be another course for your guests. Although it doesn't count as one of the portions that we offer here. I can go up to 6 courses, the dinner as many as 5 additional portions. So we're looking at salad, soup, hot appetizer, a cold appetizer, and a palate cleanser. Do you know how big you want the service to be? I think a 2-course. 2-course would mean the first course would be solid, super solid, and then the second course would be the entree, I believe. And we already have desserts coming from the the cake person, so we have already had that decided. So, yeah, I feel like a 2-course meal is enough. What about you? That shouldn't be bad. He crossed his arms with a considering look, pivoting his expression. His aquarium eyes met yours, and he switched to a smile. Excuse me. Yeah. I really did want at least one of those other options. Two courses, then? Sounds like it. Do you know what you like for it? Yeah, solid. Let's go with solid. Let's go with solid course. Perfection. That's be tasty. Oh, and how much heat are you expecting for the dishes? We can keep it very mild, or easily push the spice levels up. I know I like spicy as long as it's like medium spicy, but we have to take other people in consideration too. So I think mild as the base, please. Because not everybody's gonna like it, like too spicy. We have to take everybody in consideration, of course. That'll keep everyone happy. Maybe there could be sauces on the table for people to add their own. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We can do that. Your lips pulled into a happy smile. Not that you were surprised, but still, you were grateful to have Cove's full support here. And the chef backtracked through her notes for a second. She thought over everything that you'd all had discussed until she could pin down exactly what was slipping her mind. What about the drinks? Are we just water, please? Party, coffee and tea group, hard drinkers. There's always at least going to be water, even if you have other options. So don't worry about that. Oh, I like there to be. This is a wedding thing, so I think wines for some people, fruit juices, tea, and liquors for those those of us who like something hard. And she said there'll be regular water on the side anyway, so don't have to worry too much about that. Mixed cocktails. Yeah. And that's everything I'm thinking. I think we covered it. There's nothing else I'd want to add. We'll make it happen. So that's the menu type, meal scale, spice level, and beverage basics. Please, Rhonda rolled her sleeves up. Her gaze fell on you and Cove with a new determined gleam. Alright. Sorry about that. My allergies are acting up. Give me a moment, I gotta blow my nose. Alright, sorry about that. Let's go deeper. Cole smiled nervously at the chef's intensity, but he didn't wilt completely. You had a sneaking suspicion his remaining strength came from the topic still being about food. The conversation continued from there. It dug into specifics such as mean protein and side ingredients. The style of the cuisine and foods would be based on, and so on and so on. It took a fair bit of time, but eventually a finalized selection was arranged. You couldn't get over how delicious everything sounded the longer the conversation went. By the end, Cove appeared just as relieved and excited as you were about the food. But most of all, you were so grateful to have a set menu planned for the wedding. Itch. Back itches. Rhonda, however, hadn't slowed down at all. I see that you're both settling down for a rest. But just hang on and stay with me a little longer. We're not done yet. Oh, there's something else? Yes, it's called presentation. We can do all levels of fare for your meal. Where you picturing a plain Jane approach or something more hotty-toddy? The stuff just needs to be on the plate. Yeah. Rhonda giggled at your honesty. Cove nodded with affirmation. Chippy said it. Good food is good food either way. That works for us. So, as I started to talk about the way back when, we'll provide the plates and utensils and such. Our plates are white, but can be completely plain or have little swirly details around the edges. What do you think of that? Before you or Cove could even consider giving an answer, she held both her hands up to stop that. She stole a glance over her shoulder. Ah, wait. Give me another sec. I'll grab some stacks. You should see before choosing anything. Again, without leaving a window to say anything, in response, Rhonda darted off deeper into the kitchen. Cove stared at her as she went. His expression was deadpan. Deepen? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say dead, but I don't know. Deepen, I guess, yeah. You can pick the plates. Yes. An abrupt clattering came from the direction. She disappeared down, and a moment later, your caterer had reappeared. She kept her word and had piles of plates balanced on each of her hands. She stepped up to clear a counter space. Rhonda spoke clearly, magically, while laying out the first set of plates and some forks to go with them. Perhaps so you knew for sure what they looked like together. Here's the white. Cove looked distinctly, but you leaned forward to properly scrutinize the pure white dinner plates. Here's the swirl. As promised, the time were extra design element on the plates. You consider it carefully. Now, what are you thinking? I like the swirly one. Got it. Looks like Cove thinks it's a good idea too. Thanks for humoring me. And now you can breathe. We're done. Rhonda laughed happily as she closed her notepad and put it aside. Okay, cool. I'm glad we have that worked out. Thank you very much, Rhonda. That's great. Thanks for all the help. It's my pleasure. We're looking forward to knocking your socks off. It'll be a 2-course double menu, mild meal that your guests will be talking about for years to come. I promise. Neat. One last question. Sure thing. How do we get out of here again? Oh, we got kind of lost getting here. Rhonda clapped her hands and let out a deep laugh. Cove's face reddened with embarrassment. Go down the hall and take a left to another hall, then right, and then you'll find the exit. It was so nice meeting you two. Thanks again. After that, you and Cove left the kitchen and made it out of the building in one piece. Following Rhonda's instructions, you both returned to your car with vigor in your strides. It was amazing to get such a nice meal arranged exactly the way that you both wanted it to be. The food was definitely something you were going to be dreaming about from now until the big day. And that's the end of it, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. We're on a different day, so I'm going to go ahead and save it for later. Let's see, right there. Thanks again for watching on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button for those of you who haven't done so already. Also, don't forget to check out my Patreon account and become a Patreon contributing member. Remember, all the funds that go in there go directly to charity. I don't see a penny of it. It just goes directly to charity. So you would be doing a great thing by helping out worthy charities that needed the funds. It's good karma, of course. And you can find the link to my Patreon within the description area just below the video, of course. So, until next time, I will see you guys later.